But in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 things that each of us are doing in our existing rental portfolio to squeeze even more money out of our rental properties. So, Dion, I'll let you go first. What's number 1?
So I'm actually doing a few things that are contradictory to each other on purpose. Because when you own rentals, it is a case-by-case basis. You don't go, with my entire portfolio, I'm doing this. So the first thing I'll cover is, while I am moving from Washington, where there is no R, but there are so many liberals, I need to get out of here, and moving to Texas, and I will be diversifying my portfolio, which won't make more money right away. But what I am doing is I am keeping rentals in Washington State. Because Washington State instituted rent control in 2025, I am forced to do rent increases every year that I wouldn't do. Normally I would do 5% every other year. So this year, 2026, well, I had a rent increase last year, I would not have one this year, and then next year I would do 5%. I'm being forced because of the now limited ability to raise rents. I'm doing 7% last year and 7% this year. So I'm following the laws put in place by the people trying to protect tenants, and oh darn, I'm going to make tens of thousands of dollars more this year.
Yeah, that one backfired on the liberal legislators right there. Unintended consequences. Anyways, what I'm doing for the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is something I started in 2025. Doing a lot of remodel projects, the BRRRR strategy over and over again has been how I've been building my portfolio. But I decided to take managing remodels in-house instead of general contractors or property managers. I'm no longer going to pay those fees, and I'm taking the trips out to Indiana on a regular basis so that I can be present and I can make the relationships and I can observe the work that's being done, and so that I can make sure that the quality standards are to what I would consider good quality. I spent a lot of money remodeling buildings. I was telling Dion earlier this morning at breakfast, I'm probably funneling out close to $100,000 a year for the last 4 years in remodeling different projects. And so when I look at what my largest expenses are, it's even beat out taxes. So how do I make the process of remodeling more affordable? And the very first thing that I could think of would be to take more control over remodeling those buildings and over those projects myself. Keep the money in my pocket for the management fees, and also make sure that I'm getting a good deal. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares more about your money than you do. All right, Dion, number 2.
Well, the cost of you going out there to take those things in-house is going to be a lot less than paying a GC.
Right.
Or the quality that you would get from not doing it yourself. And then there's people that we know like Cody Davis, Justin Canberra, really successful investors that are taking a lot of the property management in-house too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a constant theme.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I'm doing, which I said is going to conflict with the first thing, I am no longer working so hard to keep tenant turnover low. So with tenant turnover, when I was working full-time, I worked as hard as I could to keep it low, keep rents low, not do increases, and keep tenants in place long-term, because the turnover takes time, emotional stress, money for the repairs. But now in retirement, I have the time and I have the systems in place to where tenant turnover doesn't get me a 7% increase. It puts me to market rents, which, because of rent control, are shooting up way more than 7% a year now.
So for me, Dion spoiled it a little bit, and that's the fact that property managers are very expensive. Not only do they usually charge the first month's rent as a placement fee, but then they're going to charge a 10% reoccurring fee. And again, no one cares as much about your money as you do. So how good are the tenants they're putting in there? Here's another math equation I want you to think about real quick. If you have a property manager that's managing, say, 300 rentals, and they have 90% occupancy rate, to you, that sounds really good. And that is, 90% occupancy rate's great. But what that means is they have 30 unrented units at any one time. So they have to list and show 30 different units at any one time. And when those qualified quality tenants come through, is yours the best property? Are they going to push them towards yours? Or are they pushing them towards someone else? Do they own their own rentals and they take the best tenants for themselves and everybody else gets the leftovers? There's a lot of things that can go wrong with hiring a property manager. Now, that doesn't mean I'm against property managers. I've used several of them over the years, and I still have property managers today. But what I'm doing is I'm phasing them out. And the way I'm doing it is every time a property goes vacant, instead of having my property manager list it and lease it, I list it. and I'm leasing it. And this is allowing me to slowly phase in self-management. Right now I'm up to about 5 properties. I placed 5 tenants this year. And if I fail or it becomes too much or whatever, I can back out, let them keep the ones they have, at any point I can hand all these units back over to them. But it allows me to dip my toes into self-management, which, as I mentioned in a video I did the other day, a couple of my really good friends make more money on their rentals. How? By having management be in-house. Dion, the lumberjack, they save those fees. They save those monthly reoccurring fees. And if you can double the amount of money that you're making on your rentals by firing your property managers, that means you either made twice as much or you need half as many rentals to get to the same amount of cash flow.
Yeah, that's one on the long list of reasons why I don't like property managers. But if you're investing at a distance to get started, it's probably the best strategy until you have your landlord legs under you.
Right.
The third thing that I'm doing currently with existing tenants, existing portfolio to make more money, is at lease renewals. About a third of my properties have storage sheds and the rest don't. So when renewing with a tenant, I ask if they're interested in having storage added, because there's a website that does not sponsor any of these videos, but I use them all the time, called ibuildsheds.com. And you can get a decent shed, probably 12 by 16 or something like that, for around $3,300. Run it by the tenants and say, hey, for, depending on their needs, $80 to $100 a month, would you like to have your storage here on the property in a shed that you can control, you can see, you don't have to travel to your storage facility. And so that first third that I have with storage, those sheds didn't exist when I bought the properties, or if they had sheds, they were really old and I tore them down. And so I put in new sheds. So I'm gonna probably be, by the end of this year, up to about 50% of my properties will have sheds for each unit because the tenants are interested. So it's a way to $3,300 to get almost $100 a month is a really good return on your money.
Right. Yeah, that's really smart. So I've kind of looked at something similar myself, as I've come to the same conclusion, which is tenants, just like us, have stuff they need to store, but they may not have access to a garage. So is there a common area in my triplex? Is there some common area in my fourplex where I could potentially do like a gated fence or put some doorways or frame up a wall so I could charge for extra storage if they want it? And then also I have a place on scene to keep like lawnmowers and things like that if I need it. That's really smart. I hadn't thought about making sure I systematically put a shed per property. That's good. The final thing that I'm doing, which just sounds totally counterintuitive, but I think as you move through the life cycle of owning real estate, you hit different phases. And what I'm doing now is I'm looking at what paying off some of the mortgages will do to my cash flow. So I've been investing in Indiana. Many of my mortgages are between $25,000. That's the total loan amount, $25,000 up to $50,000, $60,000. Well, out in Washington, if you have a $500,000 mortgage and you were to pay that off completely, sure, maybe your cash flow would go up $1,000 a month, but is it really worth the $500,000 investment? Paying off a $50,000 mortgage could conceivably get me an extra $700, $800 a month in straight cash flow, straight profit. And so when I look at what is the fastest way to create more cash flow? Is it to buy more rentals, or is it to pay some of the existing ones off? Is it to sell one to pay 3 off? I'm selling my first property right now. We have it under contract on a seller finance deal. Bought the thing all in $310 with partners. It just sold for $500, and we took half of that up front, financed it for 5 years, interest only, and then we'll get the second half at the end of those 5 years. So take the check from that, cancel out another property, I make a bunch more money.
And this is where, whenever you talk about, do I pay off debt or do I get more assets, never compare year 1 to year 10 or year 8.
Right.
This is something that makes sense later. Like, I have the same plan when I'm around 70. So one property, probably cancel off all the debts that's existing, and then sell or finance the whole portfolio to somebody else so that my kids don't inherit anything, because what do they ever do for me? But that's a future plan. If you're just starting out, let us know in the comments below what strategies are you using this year to get more money from your properties. Are you actually shopping around for insurance quotes, or are you just taking the first one somebody throws at you? Are you talking to multiple lenders before you lock in an interest rate, or the cost to buy down your interest rate from one lender that's twice as much as somebody else would be? Put the work into making money from each deal, and you need less deals to get where you want to be.
Appreciate you guys as always for being here, and until next time, see you later.
Ciao.